All right guys, we're on the Ariel Rider Rideal bike and taking it for its first ride. Got the battery charged up and we're gonna see how fast this thing is. So right now I'm on PAS level 1 and it's really fast on PAS 1. It's going 15 miles per hour. Now that is just way too fast for PAS 1. Let's crank this thing up and see what 5 is. 17, 20, 24, and I felt the motor cut out. So this is limiting it at 24 miles per hour. So that's the max speed you're gonna get out of the motor on this. That seems awfully fast for a class 2 bike. So I'm gonna go ahead and contact Ariel Rider and see what's going on with the speed on this, especially in PAS 1, because PAS 1, that's way too fast for PAS 1 going on the bike trail with your kid or trying to ride with your family at a slower pace. That would be great for just commute by yourself. It's perfect, but trying to go slower than that sometimes might be a little difficult. So I'm gonna contact them and see what's going on. Hey everyone, so I got a hold of Ariel Rider and asked them what was going on with PAS level 1 being 15 miles per hour. They did confirm with me that this was a prototype, one of their first bikes that they got in, so the controller is programmed slightly differently as far as the speeds go. Now, a few other things they confirmed with me was that it is a 750 watt motor with a 1250 watt peak, and the controller is a 17 amp controller. So those are 2 specs that they did confirm about the production models. I do have them looking into possibly maybe getting me a production controller, and if they do send that over to me, I'll swap it out and then I could do some more accurate videos as far as speed and PAS levels and stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's what this video was supposed to be about, but being that my controller is a little bit different as far as speeds, I don't want to put any false information out there, so I'm not going to be doing that test until I either get a different controller or a friend of mine has one of these bikes exactly the same as this one on order in blue. So whenever he gets that, I'll borrow that one off of him and be able to produce some more accurate testing with the production model. So what I decided to do in this video is we're going to take it out on some hills that I take all my other e-bikes on, and we're going to see how this thing does on some hills. This isn't going to be a side-by-side comparison with my other bikes because I don't have anybody to come up and ride my other bikes right now, but this is going to give me a feel of what kind of power this 750 watt nominal motor produces and how it comes up those hills, because I'm used to riding my other bikes on them. So let's go ahead and get into it and see what kind of torque this thing has. Whew. I almost forgot though. Another thing they confirmed was that the speeds are definitely going to be different. PAS 1 should be closer to around 8 miles per hour, and in PAS 5 it should have a max speed of about 20 miles per hour, which would be the legal limit for a class 2 e-bike in the United States. Another thing I wanted to mention real quick is I got the front basket and the rear rack installed. Now these are pretty sweet racks here. The front basket is really nice and sleek looking in my opinion, and the way the back rack mounts on here, I'm probably going to do another more detailed video of this, but the way the back rack mounts on here is it just bolts right to the frame with 2 bolts on the inside, so you don't have anything coming up here to these or anything. Looks really good back here. And then you have the holes on top to mount optional baskets, or I think they make an optional rack for the back, but these are about $69 a piece for the back rack and then $69 for the front basket, and I believe you can get a front rack as well if you would choose that, but I decided to go with the basket because more than likely with me filming videos and stuff, I'll be throwing different bags and stuff up here and strapping them in there, so that would be nice for things like that. And as always in all my videos, I'll put a link to all the accessories that I end up putting on this bike down below in the description, so if you guys are interested, please make sure you guys check it out down there. So far the only thing I have mounted on here is a cell phone holder, which is really nice, and I'll probably be doing a full accessory video on this eventually in the future, so if you guys are interested in that. The friend of mine that has the same bike on order actually purchased a adjustable gooseneck for his and another set of handlebars that are like swept back a little bit, and I already purchased another set of handlebars for it that actually come up a little bit, about 2-inch rise, and angles back about 9 degrees, so I'll probably be switching those over just to see what kind of comfort I can get out of that. Like I said, I'll put an affiliate link down below in the description for any of the accessories that I end up putting on this bike. So if you guys are interested, check them out. If you use that link, I will make a small commission at no extra cost to you. And I will also leave a coupon code down below in the description for $50 off of most of Ariel Rider's bikes, but I don't believe it works with our ride deal. Now let's go ahead and get into that torque video. Whew. All right, so if you watched the hill test I did with the Rambo, this was the hill that I came up here side by side with my electric XP bike and the Rambo. We're not going to be doing side-by-side comparisons today, like I said, but we are going to take a spin up this hill real quick on this, and then we're going to head over to a different hill that's a little bit steeper and see how it does on that. Let's put it in PAS 5 here and see how it does. So far, it seems like it has really good power. And I'm in gear 6, barely putting any effort into the pedals. But it's pulling me up here, no problem. No problems at all. I was barely putting any effort in at all. I was basically just rotating the cranks. So I'm pretty sure it would have came up no problem with just throttle only. Let's see what I can get throttle only on this. Yeah, see, with this controller, I could do 24 miles per hour before it limits me. So, like I said, they confirmed that the production bikes will cap out at 20 miles per hour. So, probably like around 20, 21, I'm sure, which is the legal limit in the United States for a Class 2 e-bike. So now we're gonna go down this longer hill here and see how it does on that. Maybe we'll try a little bit of throttle only and see how it comes up this hill. Pretty long hill. Pretty long hill here, so we're gonna see how it does on this with throttle only and see what kind of speed we can get coming up this. I gotta tell you, these brakes pretty much right out of the box, I don't know if I just got lucky or what, but these right out of the box, these brakes were pretty good. I really didn't have to adjust them, and they're not really, I mean, there's no squeak to them at all, which is pretty nice. I'm not quite sure what kind of brake pads they use, but the brakes definitely do feel pretty good on this. All right, so we're down here at the bottom of the hill, and let's go ahead and see what we can do going back up it. You know what, I'm just gonna do throttle only. Let's do throttle only for a little while and see how far we can make it just on throttle. Pretty good so far. I mean, it's dying down a little bit, but yeah, pulling me up pretty good. 9 miles per hour, 8. Got some dirt bikes back there. 10. Pulling me up no problem, right up this hill. Now, normally I wouldn't do this. It doesn't seem like it's really putting too much strain on it, but normally I wouldn't do this and I would help it pedal because I don't want to burn anything out. But yeah, throttle only all the way up. I'm gonna start pedaling here. See, normally I would pedal to give it a little bit of help. I mean, I'm barely putting any effort into it, way less than some of my other bikes I feel. I'll know a little bit more once I do a side-by-side comparison on that, but it definitely feels like it has some really good power. I'm really happy with the power of the motor and the power that it's producing. Very good, very good. All right, so now there's a little hill over here that I went up with my Varla electric scooter, was flying up and down it a few times. So we're gonna go ahead and take this up that and see how it goes up that. Now I'm probably gonna downshift, it's really steep and dirt. So I'm gonna stay in PAS 5. I'll tell you what, let's go to PAS 1 and then we'll use some throttle. We'll just use some throttle. I'm gonna downshift here to, let's go to first just in case I need it. PAS 1. up it no problem. Didn't even have to use the throttle. Let's cruise over through here and then get back up on the road. But I gotta tell you, I mean, I'm really impressed with the power this thing has, for sure. I would say it walks right up those hills just as easy as the mid-drive Rambo that I have. Now, one thing I did notice is this is a 6-speed Shimano shifter here. And when you're in gear 6, let's see if I can get it to 20 miles per hour. I think that's my PAS2. But this is about the cadence on the pedals at 20 miles per hour. So that's about what you're gonna be. So it matches pretty good in PAS6. That's a nice pedal speed, 20 miles per hour. The 14-tooth gear in back, which is gear 6, is pretty good for 20 miles per hour with as far as the cadence on your pedals and everything. Not too bad. All right, guys, now one thing I wanted to mention is a couple people that already got their bikes, I seen comment and say that the production models actually do have a PAS0. I know I said in my first video that this doesn't, and that's probably because, like I said, it is the prototype model. But if you hit the down arrow here, all the LEDs, the 1 through 5 LED here, will go completely dark, and that actually puts you on PAS0. So there is a PAS0, even though it doesn't say 0 on the production models, which is very nice. I'm glad that they fixed that, because it's pretty much a hassle having to turn the whole display off, and then your headlight and your brake light will not work. So the production models, your headlight and brake light will work, and you will have a PAS0. Just keep hitting the down arrow until the red light basically goes out and these lights stay on, and that'll be basically like a PAS0. So now let's turn it off here, and I'm going to pedal in gear 1 and see what kind of speed we can get out of gear 1 with a nice cadence here. So that's about 9 miles per hour, 10 miles per hour, and that's about how fast I'm pedaling there at 10 miles per hour in gear 1. And this is with the motor off, so it's pretty nice to pedal with the motor off. Now, I kind of feel like I did try this bike up a hill without the motor on, and I did feel like it was a little bit difficult still. It would have been nice to see like maybe a 32 or a 34 tooth sprocket in the back on first gear instead of, I believe it's a 28. See right here, I mean, it's really not bad at all. It's really not too bad on this kind of hill, but if I was coming up that hill that I did the throttle only on, there, I mean, if I didn't have the motor, it probably would have been pretty hard to pedal up with just being in gear 1. So as long as your battery doesn't die, you shouldn't have a problem on almost any hill, in my opinion, because this thing has the power. I mean, it goes up pretty good with the motor. Now, if your battery dies, that might be a little different story. So you can see there's a little squeak, but I mean, like I said, these brakes are nice. All right, so we're just cruising. I'm in PAS2. We're gonna be cruising about 18 to 20 miles per hour. And like I said, there's the cadence that the production bikes should have when you're in top speed, top gear. Not too bad, pretty nice. And gonna cruise up this hill here. Now, one thing I did notice, guys, is that this is a got a little bit of gravel here. You guys want to watch out for gravel while you're riding. You don't want to hit any loose gravel. Your tires will slide out. You could go down, so be cautious of that. But this thing is engaged. The motor's engaged with a cadence sensor and not a torque sensor. But to be honest, from what I've read and what I've heard, I don't think I would want a torque sensor, because you got to put a lot more effort into your bike to get it to go up hills. But what's really nice about this cadence sensor is it pretty much kicks in at about a quarter of a turn on the crank. So if you start your pedals and like you're starting out and your pedals up high, you get about a quarter turn forward on your cranks, and it engages the motor when you're at a dead stop. Now, once you're going, it does feel like it takes a little longer to kick in, but I think that's because it's actually, it kicks in really gradual, and I think it is kicking in. You're just not noticing it yet once you're going at a faster speed. But the cadence on this is really nice, and it engages really smooth. It's not real jerky. It's just a nice gradual, like watch. So that's not pedaling. I'm going to kick it in. Really gradual. It didn't throw me back. It didn't jerk me or anything. It's just real nice and gradual, kind of like the Rambo bike I have. When I talked about the motor kicking in on that, real gradual. Pretty much just like that. Hey guys, something cool that I noticed here, which I never really noticed on my other e-bikes. Now, not so much on level ground like I am here, but when you're on a hill with this bike, now I don't know if this is just because it's this bike or if the production models are going to be like this, but I'm in gear 1 PAS 5 and now I'm on a slight hill. So watch, I'm going to turn the pedals real slow and it's going to go pretty slow on this hill. I think it's limiting the power depending on how many rotations you put on the cranks. So I'm not putting any power at all into the pedals. I'm just rotating them basically like in the air. And you can see here that how fast it's going. Now if I start pedaling faster, it actually gives me more power to the motor. Almost kind of like acting like maybe not quite a torque sensor, but it's pretty neat. So if you want to slow down going up a hill, you just slow down the pedals. I noticed it mostly when I was pulling out because I was in gear 6. Now you always have full-time throttle on this bike, which is nice, but when you pull out, see, it's not going to give you, even though I'm in gear 5 or gear 1 PAS 5, it's not really going to give you the power until you start rotating these pedals faster. So you can see now it's picking up speed. Now, if you can't rotate the pedals fast for some reason, like if you're starting out on a steep slope like this, you can always just use that throttle to get you going fast, and then you'll be good to go. But I thought that was pretty neat. I never noticed it on any of my other bikes. Usually you're in PAS 5 and you start pedaling and you get the power of PAS 5, no matter how fast you're rotating the pedals. So I thought that was kind of different. Not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it's pretty neat. I noticed it only really working going up hills. When you're on level, you don't really notice it. If you pedal slow, it still goes pretty fast. You can see here, I'm not putting any effort into it. And I'm already at, I mean, it's kind of kicking on and off, but you can see it's still pretty fast, even though I'm rotating the pedals slow. Now, if I rotate them faster, yeah, so don't really notice it so much on level ground, but like I said, just pretty much on hills. So I think I'm gonna head back to my house now, but I wanted to get out and finally take this thing for a good ride. We've had so much rain here that I haven't been able to get out and do a test ride on it, but I know a lot of you really wanted to see the first ride on it. Unfortunately, I couldn't do the video that I wanted to make as far as the PAS speeds and everything, but I hope this helped you guys understand what kind of power this motor has. Like I said, I'm planning on doing a future video, maybe up against some of my other bikes. So if that's something you want to see, make sure you're subscribed. I'm also going to be swapping out these handlebars for some different ones. So if that's something you're interested also, please make sure you guys are subscribed and hit that bell so that you don't miss those videos. Don't forget, I will put affiliate links down below for both this bike and any accessory that I put on the bike. If you use that link, I will make a small commission at no extra cost to you. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one.